Welcome back to Pass the Aisle.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Meg, and we have a super special guest.
Yes.
Super special.
Introduce yourself.
No, I want to introduce.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this person's really special. One, because she's the newest member of the team, and I think it's pretty I think it's saying something if I welcome you onto the show, because this is kind of like our thing. But I think I felt like a very strong connection with her when I first met her. And I think that goes to my Indeed.com skills. Because after so many times, and I was telling her this during the interview, I try to learn to find the right person. So Kortney is a member of our team. She works with Jenna. And I've been so it's taken me so long to find the perfect second for her. And I think after seeing them work this past week, and I'm really happy. So welcome, Kortney.
Welcome, Kortney.
I'm Kortney, if you didn't catch that.
So I was like, well, since we're taking it to this next level on the podcast, I was like, dude, I want to take this time to get to know you. And we can, because when I first met you, I was like, dude, she's kind of like Jenna. Almost exactly like Jenna. You're very outgoing, you're loud, but you can make people feel comfortable. Loud in a good way, where it's I would always feel like Jenna would, she'd be like this creature that rolls into the room and explodes, and then everybody starts laughing and feeling comfortable because she's like, whatever, let's go. She's really loud. So, and that always made me feel more comfortable because I was a wallflower. So I like that in you, and I recognize that immediately. You made me come out of my shell, because on a normal basis, I'm very quiet. But around the right people, around Jenna or around you, I can become more free. So that's cool. So I recognize that right away. And so I was like, dude, so maybe we can take this time to really get to know you and the rest of the people on the team too. So.
And it's cool that you came at the right time.
You did.
You did. It's funny how life is. It's you're just strolling through life, and then you hit rock bottom. Especially being in business, you're going to have that roller coaster.
Yeah.
And things aren't always going to be working out all the time.
Yeah.
And then someone comes along like yourself.
Right. If I met you first.
Yeah.
I don't think we would be ready for you. I don't think we'd have the structure. I don't think I would be the teacher that I am. I would be a lot meaner, be a lot more stricter, right? Like Jenna's seen from the very beginning. So I think it's a really good timing that the one that I've been looking for without, I really want to make this team.
Yeah.
And that was 2.5 years ago. So after that, when it wasn't happening, I was like, dude, is this even possible? It was so hard, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, for us being business owners, we finally matured.
Yeah. We're reaching it. We're getting better and better.
Yeah, we're getting better at teaching. We're getting better at guiding new people in what we basically need when it comes to wedding photography.
Yeah.
Before we were just do your thing, and then
and for us too. I think you're such a good fit with who we are. We're so, I don't know. I feel like we were so hermit-y.
Yeah.
We don't go out. Not at all. Not at all. We only started to do that because we're oh, maybe we should hang out with our team members, right? Or hang out with Jenna more, instead of just seeing you at work and all you hear from us are orders or requests or this is your job. So I really didn't want to do that. And I remember that I made that a point with the conversation that I had with you, which was so easy. I was I don't want us to just be coworkers. I want us to be friends, like a family. I want us to be a family, because this is all we do. And if we don't create the type of work environment that's fun and stuff, I feel we won't love it, because we're here to stay. So it might as well be really fun. And so doing that, it involves in finding the right people. So thank you.
Thank you for having me and choosing me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really cool. And now you're here on the podcast. These are all things I didn't think about until you guys made it possible. I was wow, cool. She's really you're here. You're like engaging with us. Like I remember you were like so on the social media and stuff like that. I was like, oh, finally somebody's like talking to me.
You know what's crazy? I think this all happened in the span of just May, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We accomplished a lot for just May.
But with the right people, right? So, and I realized that too. I said, it can't just be me. It can't just be Chi. It can't just be me, Chi, and Jenna. Like, there has to be a team effort. It has to be the right mix of people. And, like, everybody now feels very comfortable. And the fact
we were
that,
just talking about it's like Match.com. We're trying to find each photographer and match their chemistry together and see if they will work well together.
Well, thank you for bringing me to Jenna.
Yeah, you guys are so similar. It's so
I
funny.
know, and it's so
funny.
nice to have someone in the industry that's like around my age.
Yeah.
No. None taken.
I'm sure you're great.
No, it's so important that you guys
It
are
is
the same
important.
age. And I said, because I know we come from a different generation, so the way that I teach or the way that I see things is probably sometimes old school. He's even more old school. So like, I was like, okay, cool. I'm learning from you guys how to even teach, like how to even communicate. And then the fact that you're kind of like right there with me, like you shared the find your profile online, like what kind of creator are you, what kind of artist are you? I was like, that's dope, because that's what I did with the rest of these guys is we took the 16 personalities and we take it every year to like check in with each other. But nobody really was like super engaged with it or participated. So it was so cool to have you be on that level. Yeah. And then I saw you like making vlogs and stuff, and I watched a few yesterday. I was like, cool, so she gets it. You know, and that was a big thing too, is like you came from kind of running your own business, right?
Yeah.
So if I could like, there's so much I want to ask you, but we can't fit it all in one show. So
all right.
Break it down, part one, part two.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start with part one. Let's start with introductory.
Well, okay, so for part one introduction, like maybe it would be cool to like, if you can narrow down, I wrote down some notes here, like maybe 3 things that define you, and we can kind of dig in deep to those things.
3 things that define me? What the heck? I told you send me these things prior, so get ready.
Well, I want to hear from your perspective.
Right.
Yeah. What are 3 things you think?
On the stage and all that, all right here on the spot. Okay, 3 things that define me, huh? It'd be for sure my experience growing up and learning from other people's, I guess, mistakes. Mm-hmm. I know, I think the downfall of that, though, is not making my own mistakes, so I'm just learning from other people's mistakes. And
you're like a smart young person.
I know, I'm an observer.
You're very rare.
I know. I actually tend to get along with the older crowd. I rarely get along with people my age.
Really?
I prefer to be around older people, like my Aunt Tao, who's been my mentor.
Yeah.
So
that's very cool.
Is that one?
How long did you mentor with your aunt?
So I'm trying to think.
Is she still mentoring you?
Well, because she's retired, she's not... Like, I'm shifting my mentors to you two. Sorry, Tao.
It happens, you evolve, you know, and, you know.
Yeah. But definitely we should delve into that. I'm not trying to diss her or anything.
No, of course not. Of course not.
But she's been mentoring me, I'd say, probably right out of high school-ish.
Wow. Okay.
So
shooting weddings right out of high school.
Almost like that. Yeah. Like, it was slowly progressing and getting her trust, like I am with you two. Yeah. Right? So she let me come along with her family shoots and just third shoot. And just help her with little details, like if someone's wearing a hair tie or hair in the face or like a detail's out of place, I have her on those eyes, or with any other shots that are interesting, I let her know and she's open.
Did you follow her when you were in high school?
The crazy thing is she's been doing photography for a long time, and it just never interested me when she was doing it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I received a camera in high school.
Ooh, what kind of camera did you get?
XTI.
Okay,
It was so cute.
Is that like a Rebel or something?
Yeah, I think it's like one of the first ones, right?
Yeah, okay, XTI.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom's boyfriend actually gifted it to me. It was a used one from my other aunt.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he gave it to me, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to let this sit on the shelf, and I have like a lot of time on my hand in high school, so I'm going to play around and learn how to use this.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and then they saw that I was really interested in it, so 2 years later for my birthday, they gifted me T3I.
Oh,
Making
wow.
my way up. I think that was when I was 16 or 17 that I got the T3I.
Do you still have photos that you captured?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
good.
I actually logged every.
Wow.
Like,
You even vlogged?
I logged it on my
okay.
Excel sheet of like my
Oh,
gigs.
that's
I have
nice.
the information how much I made that year.
What?
Yeah.
On an
that's-
Excel sheet?
Yeah, my Aunt Tal told me to document how much I made.
Wow, that's really good.
She set me up for success.
And you
honey.
actually listen. See, that's the freaking.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're so good. So good.
I tried.
Such a A player. Yeah, like that's so good to be able to learn from the next generation.
I know. I'm
Nobody
so glad
wants
she
to
could
do that.
Really? I love it.
Nobody wants to do that, right?
What?
I don't know. Like it's like, oh, you're old. You're like, I'm gonna be with the cool
Put on an
kids.
Excel
No,
sheet?
the cool kids are the older ones. They have all the experience.
Just being able. That's something I recognize too. Like when I first talked to you, it's like you're thinking about the future. Like you're like him, very like future minded. Like, oh, I better.
Are you
learn this.
futuristic? Would you say?
Or are you more present?
I'm a realist.
Honest.
So whatever gets me from
That's
point A
kinda
to
like
point B.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's kind of like you're like, I want to do this, so I got to do this.
Do you think 3 years from now?
I think of cause and effect.
Okay.
Does that count?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Okay, so how long? So from high school until now, you've been shooting weddings.
Yeah.
Oh, when did you start shooting weddings?
That was in college.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think around my freshman year of college. So
Pretty
what
early.
was that? 2014?
So
2014.
collectively, like how much experience then with photography?
Oh, so when did I start?
Yeah.
I started in 2011.
Oh wow,
Wow.
that's still a long time.
That's it.
I know.
You were early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're right there with us, basically.
Yeah.
There's still so much for me to learn.
Oh, for us too. Yeah, for sure. But I think you being so young and having so much experience, like you're a rare creature. You are.
Yeah, it's very rare because it's wedding photography.
Yeah.
Because you don't find a lot of people that go
been
into
in it.
weddings. Yeah, they'll either get into landscape or they'll get into other different sections of photography. But wedding photography is special to learn that at an early age.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever delve into any other types of photography where you're like, do I want to do weddings or?
So when I first started out, I actually really liked doing portraits of people, like individuals, and then couples. So I knew I already liked that.
Yeah.
And so weddings just made sense to me.
Yeah.
And just having fun, it's actually a once in a lifetime type of moment. So documenting it, it's not all staged.
Yeah.
Right? There's
Yeah.
some real feels going on.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
how it feels. Yeah. Okay. Do you find yourself like, what were the biggest lessons going into wedding photography? Because portrait photography, I find a lot of portrait photographers think they can do wedding photography where it looks like you're just doing portraits in wedding photography. But I feel like the way that wedding photography is very documentary. Like it's like you have to be there in the moment and still create art. And it's real, like it's happening
Yeah.
real time, and you don't have 100% control most of the time. So you just have to be able to deal with whatever lighting condition, whatever timeline. You got to run the timeline. Whoever's late or whatever. Like there's so many other things that can get in the way of you creating the best picture, but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's why weddings are so special.
Yeah, wedding photography is a big live event.
Call yourself a
It's
wedding
spontaneous.
photographer.
You have
Yeah.
to go with the flow and be open with it because it's not your day. It's the
Yeah.
groom and bride's day, and you want to make it as memorable as possible, right? So you have to have a good attitude
Yeah.
and not be so sassy to them. I heard like Jessica and Allison was thanking us. One of the things he mentioned was, I've heard nightmares of photographers
That's
or
right.
vendors being
Yeah.
mean to the bride and groom in the wedding party
Really?
because,
Wow.
So
And I was like,
it meant a lot. I'm like, wow, that happens?
like, wow, that's why maybe you guys or still some clients just are like so pensive sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels insulting. Not that I'm personally insulted, but it's like, oh, you hear it sometimes where people don't trust you to do your job, right? And I think that's on us. I think as an industry to communicate what we do. I think a lot of the industry is very, especially wedding photographers, we just stay behind our cameras. And that's why this is great, something like this, where we can continue to educate and show people what we do, because is a hard job.
Yeah. I mean, it's very similar of finding the right shooter to shoot together, but it's also finding the right clients that have a good chemistry and good bond with both photographers.
Right.
And
especially for being a matchmaker.
I try.
But even especially like now that you're similar to Jenna, Megan is able to match Jenna with a client that she feels will fit best, and then knowing that they'll fit best with Jenna, they'll fit best with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So then that's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find clients that see a photographer's perspective and for photographers to see their perspective and kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah.
So on the wedding day, they won't feel insulted.
Yeah.
There will be a good chemistry, a good vibe.
It's mutual. Like the respect is mutual too. I think that's...
Yeah, it's just matching photographers and clients and... It's, especially like for a second photographer, it's very difficult. They're not like the primary. They can't just step into, it's different for a second because they have to step into a wedding and know that couple right off the bat because they didn't build a relationship from the meeting, from the engagement session. They just kind of show up. So it's,
I don't know. Kortney was able to do what a professional does, which is like... I saw that too before. Like when I first started to train Jenna, she's like, okay, cool, I need to make a connection with the client, right? And I was like, not necessarily. Because in the end of the day, it's not really about you, like you just said, right? It's about them and their day. So at the end of the day, even though a second shooter coming in, and I'll ask your perspective on this later, but I just wanted to share that. When you're coming in as a professional, it's not about you having the connection with the client. Like that's great. I think that's a great cherry on top, and that's what I try to do for you guys to make sure you have a good connection in that. Even though you haven't spent from the email to the engagement to the wedding now, like even though you haven't done that, you're still a good match and that you'll still be copacetic on the day of, right? And so you were able to do that beautifully. You were like making friends with everybody, right? Because I feel, and I saw that before, I was like, I have a good feeling. I don't need to worry too much because I know the client already myself, I know you, and I know that it's a good fit. And then there's Jenna there too, right? So, and without you knowing them or having a connection, or even talking to them, right? Like you didn't talk to them. It was fine. At the end of the day, people were inviting you to the after party.
Should have gone to the mansion party.
Sake, you know, like...
Oh, that was fun.
That was good.
Sorry, Kevin, you missed out.
That was good.
Right.
You got Hibiki the other day. But I think that is the work of the professional. And that's something I explained to Jenna too. I probably said it in a meaner way, but like I was like, you don't really need to make a connection with them. What you need to do is your job, which is capture their day.
Yeah.
Right? And if you can get over yourself and be like, okay, I'm here for you. I'm not here for me. I mean, I'm getting paid, whatever, but like I'm here for you. And I think when the client feels that genuinely, like it's always a good time. Yeah. Even when maybe you have like a rowdy group of guys, like you still show up, you still do your job. That is what a professional does. And they don't take it personally, which, I don't know. Did you ever run anything like that?
That's crazy. I was talking to Jenna about this too, and she was warning me about rowdy guys, groomsmen. Yeah. And I'm like, I've never experienced that.
Maybe because you're so bubbly and friendly, right?
Yeah. Well, knock on wood
or maybe too, like if you've had the opportunity to like really connect with your clients, like before, if you like outside of us, you had your own business, right? So you said first and foremost yes or no to whoever you were working with. So right away there, you could filter who you can deal with. But that's not always the case with our team. One, because we get so many types of weddings. And we do have to meet a quota per se. So it's not like every single wedding is it like, you know, out of the stars over like a match made in heaven sort of like client and photographer deal. It's not always like that. Like we don't always have that luxury. So sometimes it happens. Or sometimes it happens that like guys just get drunk. Or whatever. Like they do a lot of stuff beforehand before they come into
it just comes back to like marketing business is always like 90% and your passion is like 10%, right? Your art, your passion is like 10% and everything else is professionalism, customer service, and everything that you listed.
Yeah. But you know, Jenna doesn't have as much experience in the field as you. So we try to prepare her in the best way possible. And she's been in the service industry, like she's been like a waitress, right?
Yeah.
A waitress for a long time. So I think she's also bringing in that experience too. And sometimes people don't respect the waitress, especially here in America. Like, you know, you gotta work for your tips or whatever, and it's not even that much. But now you're in this different field. So I think as long as I do my job, which is like, I tell people to respect you guys, to feed you guys, to respect that, hey, you're just trying to do your job, you know, so just be cooperative. And then when it gets time to be like you guys at the wedding, it should be smooth sailing. But we've definitely run into a lot of things where it's like, somebody's maybe not treating me right. I ran into a lot, but that's because I was like very quiet too. I think maybe because I was short, I'm not like as outspoken. I'm not really sure, but I ran into a lot of issues where I would get a lot of rowdy guys or people that hit on you or.
Well, that's because you're less quiet.
Maybe, yeah. I'm more quiet.
Yeah, people will.
Like they sense the vulnerability.
The vulnerability basically,
right.
Versus when, you're very extroverted.
Yeah, maybe.
No one can.
I'm not really sure.
But if you're strong-minded,
yeah,
then that's a different story.
Yeah. I don't know. So you've never had that experience?
Well, now that you say the hit on, I've had a couple of those, but I've never thought too much about it. Like, I'm able to shoo them away.
I mean, it's fine. Like, it's not like it bothered me, but it sometimes would be like, it would get in the way of me doing my job.
Wow.
So, like, they would just be like, talking, but I'm like trying to give them directions. To like go over there. Like I'm trying to just take this shot right now, or you know. So it would just kind of get in the way of shooting, and it's not professional too. Like I don't want to feel weird.
Yeah.
Like I just want to do my job and capture good photos. Like I don't need to hear you in my head. I need to look at my camera and make sure everybody's eyes are open. Things like that.
Yeah.
You know, the things that you're trying to do as a second.
That actually makes me think of another subtopic of it is choosing a good wedding party. Actually, people who are genuinely there for you that, you know, like they won't make it about them.
Yeah.
You know, because there's some that I've noticed like they go missing and they're not helping the bride or the groom at all.
Yeah.
They just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We forget about that in weddings, and I feel, it's been engraved for so long that the people they choose are their good friends.
Yeah.
But sometimes they forget, like, the people they choose are their good friends that they partied with in college.
Yeah. Or they haven't seen him in a long time and they're the same, like,
but it's the wrong reason.
Yeah.
It's a wrong reason, right? Yeah, you want to choose people that
are there to support you.
Yeah, to support you. And
not forget your belt, not forget the ring.
Yeah.
The wedding day is a collaborative effort.
Yeah, it is. It's such a collaborative effort.
It was funny this past weekend, like at our wedding, the groom's brother forgot the ring. And it was hidden in multiple purses.
What?
So in the middle of the ceremony, like,
what is this game?
It was a pause for 5 minutes.
Wait,
and
seriously?
Then the groom's brother would have to run somewhere for 5 minutes, and he was like, "There's so many purses. I don't know which one it's in." So he just chose the first one he saw, and then it was in there, and then he ran back. I was like, "Oh, thank goodness!"
My God.
But yeah, you know, like.
Yeah,
you definitely have to be a responsible party, but I get it. People want to have fun on your wedding day.
Yeah.
But
it's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about them.
You see the name? Yeah, your name's not on there.
So when I see like a smaller wedding party, it makes more sense because these are like true friends. True people that supported you, know your relationship inside and out. Yeah.
Has any what's the worst thing that happened to you at a wedding?
Can't think of one immediately, but this recent wedding, the groomsmen, there was a total of 5 of them, and 3 of them were late. But I made do with. I'm like, okay, the 2 that are here play rock paper scissors because the groom doesn't care who puts on his jacket or whatever, you know. So just play rock paper scissors, and we'll see who gets to go in the pigs. Yeah. So it made it a fun competition between the small group of us that was there.
I love that. Yeah.
So it makes it memorable.
Yeah, when something goes wrong, you made it fun.
Yeah, you make the most of it too. You just get other shots that doesn't require the entire group.
Yeah. There were so many times where we'd run through quite a bit of second shooters and trying to find the right person. And that's, and I didn't realize it too, because I've never hired people before. I've never had to teach somebody what I know. And I'm like, holy crap, I know a lot of stuff. But that's just over the years of doing so many things of like, oh shit, like, okay, groomsmen forgot this. Like, what do we do? How do we act? How do I look during this time? Or how do I give comfort, right?
Yeah.
Or how to provide service? Because it's still service-based business. So you're like, how to provide service? And there's so many times where other people just freak out, flip out. You can see it on their face. You can see it in their work, right? And like, I went through all your work, and I'm like, that's amazing. So I said, thank you. Thank you for not having your stress transfer into your collection.
Mm-hmm. Even how stressful, it will be all the time.
Oh my gosh, you two are making me think of an experience. It has nothing to do with the wedding, but like someone's experience of freaking out like translates to me too. So I had a Mini Cooper 2003
or
2007.
I have a Mini Cooper.
I saw that. Wait, no, Marcus has a Mini Cooper too. That is interesting.
That is funny.
And he's a big guy.
Screw Mini Coopers, man. BMW, right?
Yeah.
I had a Mini Cooper 2007. Burgundy color.
Oh wow, her color.
Had it for 2 weeks. I was on the 405 freeway going back to school in Santa Barbara, and I was ride sharing with this girl because, easy gas money, right?
Yeah.
Mini Cooper doesn't take cheap gas.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, it was like $45 or something, fill the tank or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, something happened with the engine, and it wouldn't go faster than 30 miles per hour. And I was in the carpooling. You know the 405?
Yeah.
Like when you're near the Getty Museum, there's like at least 6 lanes or so.
Yeah.
Dang.
So
You're like,
yeah, I'm just slowly like moving, and everyone's going fast, and this truck like on the side of me saw that I was having issues, and he like blocked traffic for me so I can get to the side safely. But the person I was ride sharing with, she was like breaking down and freaking out.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
oh, you didn't know her?
Huh?
You didn't know her?
I didn't know her. Okay, so UCSB, we have this page for rideshare, and you can only be in the Facebook page if you have the UCSB email. So
it's like a little...
Well, they do this for Uber now. You can pick, or Waze. Yeah, pick up someone to carpool with you.
Interesting. I wonder how expensive it is.
like
they'll pay you gas, and they'll pay you for your time if you pick them up. But
interesting.
It's scary. But
I know. I would trust the UCSB page more because she was freaking out. She was calling everyone on her list, informing them. I'm like, I'm trying to live in the moment, please. Like, let me deal with it one step at a time. I don't need to hear all this like your tears,
negativity. And you're driving. You're the one driving.
Exactly. I'm like, please calm down.
Wow. It's your car.
Yeah.
It's like,
but
that's funny.
It's okay. I live to tell the tale, so obviously it's all right.
So what happened? This
AAA, they took me back to Orange County, and I had to start the trek again to Santa Barbara with a different ride share.
Oh, God.
But this time you're not driving.
Yeah. Thank goodness my friend was in the area in Disneyland, so she drove me back.
Dang.
I know this is off topic, but what happened to your car?
Bye-bye.
That was it?
Yeah.
What do you mean, you sold it?
We had to fix the engine, and that's not a fun price.
It was totaled.
Well, it wasn't total. It was just you gotta fix the entire engine.
Dude,
and BMWs, they're just really complicated.
They are complicated.
And the parts are all like far away and hard to get, and like ridiculously expensive.
An early investor, and I had mine for 8 years, and it had auto steering.
Power drive,
or power steering.
Yeah.
Mine locked up while I was driving, and I couldn't steer, and I was on the off ramp to go to Irvine, and my car kept on going straight. I was like, I'm not going to freaking go straight off this off ramp, so I like really forced it.
Was that when you got in an accident?
No.
Oh, okay.
The accident was because someone stopped right in front of me.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, I had to force that steering to steer to the left.
Terrifying.
So that, BMW could have got sued if I died, but
it never got fixed. It never got fixed too, right? Like
it never got fixed. So once I totaled it, we just got rid of it. It was a really bad car. Yeah.
Well, speaking of transferring your energy to somebody else, and it's like negative. So we used to shoot together, right? And it's so important to I think we didn't know this at the time, but we didn't know about chemistry and having to shoot together. It's like when you're young and you get in a relationship, you just think you should just be together all the time, everything together all the time. And so we didn't figure that out for 7 years. And then after that fact, when we stopped shooting together, because it wasn't really copacetic, I would take things too personal. Chi would get like you'd be too, like you're Asian style, like super Asian style. So like I would take it super personal and it was not a good energy.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we made it through that, and clients always say nice things.
Yeah.
I'm sure my face was like hella mad all the time. And then after I left, and then Jonathan stepped in, like he blossomed because he has somebody who he could like gel with, I guess, shooting, because it's so. Like you're in the weeds of it, you know, you're going to be in really stressful situations and you have to be able to take it and give it to your partner out there when you're working. And like, that was not me. Yeah. And so I'm glad that I'm doing this stuff now and that we're better partners in this like sense. But
everyone has to start somewhere.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's so important to find that good chemistry because it's so true that you can just transfer that energy back and forth. And during the wedding, you want to keep it hype.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be, like, tight spots. And, like, I was observing you guys, like, you and Jenna working the weekend. And, like, it was, like, cool. Like, it looks like they're a good fit. Like, when it's game time. Like, we didn't figure this out until later, but like, okay, it's game time. I'm not being mean or I'm not being short with you. It's just, hey, you got to go over there. You got to go shoot that. Right? Like, I don't have time to be sweet to you right now. It's game time, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I saw that with you guys, but you had that pretty seamless, I thought.
Yeah.
How did you feel about working together?
Oh, it was like
and
that.
taking direction.
Yeah.
Again, like you coming into somebody else's company now, which is your company, right? Like you're a part of this team now. But then I'm sure the first time it's like, okay, like what's the workflow here? Like I know I do my thing, but how do these guys do it? And and you making room for that, like in your own head.
It's all about being prepared. So, of course, me and you having our meetings of how you want your second shooter to be and what the imagery is to represent your brand.
Yeah.
And then talking to the main shooter, like Jenna. So me and Jenna, we met the day before the wedding to go through everything. Like that meeting was 3 hours long. It didn't feel like 3 hours long. I just looked at the clock like, whoa.
Good on Jenna.
Yeah.
Doing her due diligence.
Like, I brought my iPad Pro, my little pencil, and I drew it out. I'm like, okay, during the ceremony, Jenna, where do you want me to be when all is happening? We went through all the steps. Like, I want you here, da-da-da.
Yeah.
So we just were really open and communicative with each other. I'm like, okay, good. Jenna, obviously we don't have any walkie-talkies, so how do you communicate?
I get you walkie-talkies. You want walkie-talkies?
No. I think that'd be too loud during the ceremony. I'd be like, Jenna, so how do you want to communicate with each other? She's like, I'll eyeball you, and I'll just do hand signals. I want you over there. Okay. So we figured out a method what works for us. So we would just occasionally make eye contact to make sure we're doing all right.
That's good.
That's what we would do, Ben.
Yeah.
You're like, I would be like, you got it, right? Like, you would kind of get it. Like, I'm not able to capture a Virgin Mary or whatever. Like, I'm way over here. I'm like, you want me to get it? That's what would happen back in the day. It's like, cool, we got it, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what I tell the seconds too. I'm like, when you're here, it's not just about you capturing the moment, because a lot of times when seconds come in and they've done their own thing, they're focused on lead angle, because they've been lead, right? But when you're second, now you're focused on second angle. So that's sometimes like, you forget it because you're in the moment. You're looking at the bride and the groom. You're like, you're in it.
Yeah.
And nothing can pull you away from it sometimes.
Yeah.
And like,
Qual, my man.
Shout out to Qual.
Shout out to Qual, man.
Hi.
At
least you can't say we're talking behind your back. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's expected. Like, I understand. And, I've been there. It's like me shooting with Chief for the longest time and, like, feeling like, is this something that I want to do? Is this my purpose? I'm a photographer, so I'm supposed to focus on this grand moment and not maybe appreciating the finer things or the smaller moments that are happening on the side, maybe not the glory or the money shots, but they're still as important when the client receives all the whole collection. Yeah. They go, holy crap, I didn't know you captured that. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's what I want to hear, you know?
I think second shooting is actually less stressful and shouldn't be stressful at all.
Maybe we're making it stressful.
For second shooting, when I second shoot for other photographers, it allows me to think very creatively and see how I can express my art when the pressure is not on me.
Yeah.
So it's a very different feeling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I loved it.
It's like, more.
You got it.
More laid back. But then, your creative juice just comes out naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you like seconding or leading better?
Wow, that's a hard question because both of it has its pros and cons, you know?
Sure. Like in different contexts, right? Like if you're doing it for yourself, I'm sure that's like, oh, it's mine. You know, like as an artist, it feels so good because you're serving both yourself and the client, right? So I don't know, like, and that's something I understand that. So when people come in to the company and they shoot with us, the ego is always involved, right? As always. And it's always like, you can't always kill your ego. Like, it's always there every day. It reminds you, hey, what about me? Yeah. So I know that's, it's present in every artist, even in me, who's like, I never thought of myself as a photographer, but I'm like very, like I still want to do my best work if I second shoot or something. I don't think of myself as a photographer, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to do my best, right? Or I'm going to do what I was taught or trained to do, and I'm going to do it at my best work, whatever.
Yeah, like every artist that has pride in their own work, they can't do mediocre work. Yeah, it's just not in it's not in your mindset to like, oh, okay, I'm going to just stand in a corner and just shoot whatever. I mean, can't do that.
I've met some photographers that do that.
Yeah.
But what's your take?
Maybe repeat the question.
I know.
It took a lot of...
I'm sorry, I jump around everywhere. So we jump around everywhere.
Yeah, no, so I just said the ego.
So as an artist, we have our egos to contend with. So for you, do you prefer, or what maybe, okay, so what are the pros and cons for you for a lead photographer and then for being a second and stepping into that role? Pros and cons for you.
Well, being lead, I feel like you get the money shot, right? You get to work with a couple, which I have to take a step back when it comes to working for you two. But at the same time, there's a secondary where you get to capture the little bits of details that the primary can't do as well. So it's all about checks and balances. Yeah. This is the closest I'll get to government stuff.
We do get to checks and balance ourselves for sure. It's so important.
Yeah, so whatever you do, just do the best that you can out of it. You know, produce something that you're proud of and own it, whatever position or title you are. So I have to thank my Aunt Tal because I didn't come in wanting that primary, right? I start off as, the third person? The
third shooter?
Yeah, third person assistant. That's actually when you get super duper creative, by the way.
Yeah,
you do.
Super duper creative.
I've done that.
Yeah, I love that. I did that actually with Tal when she flew me to Texas to help her shoot a wedding.
Yeah.
And this church, it was beautiful. It had like a second story to it, and the top had a dome, with this beautiful mural on top, and I got to take a picture of that for the behind the scenes aspect. So it's all about owning the title that you are given, so you're pleasant to work with as an artist, you know, because it's collaborative effort.
That's true.
Well said.
Yeah, I mean, a while back we were thinking of that, of having a third shooter where I was a third shooter and I'll let someone be a primary and second, so I can just do all the creative.
I think that'd be fun.
That would be so much fun.
To take a step back so you won't have to feel so burnt out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe we'll consider it.
Yeah. I was telling Kortney, I was like, there's so many possibilities. It's just a matter of the right people to make things work, to make things click and turn. Because I could be over here all like, I can market, like I can do all that, but I can't do it if I don't have the right team to market, or if I don't feel confident in you guys. That's why I was like, like my marketing is like, and I always feel like I can't really let loose until I have the right team to support my marketing, right? And in the same end, it's like a nice little circle, because if you guys feel that you could trust me to get you guys the leads or find the right people or make sure that you're treated really well on the day of, like, making things work for you guys, then it works, right? Like it's like a cool little cycle. But we can't have one without the other, you know? And that's the biggest thing. I think the biggest change that we've made that you're, seeing is like, without you guys, like the team collectively, we really won't be the people that we are. will be like all like I'll probably be all resentful. Probably you'll be all like going crazy.
Yeah.
Never have a break. You're like, what the hell? I do everything. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? You know, like, so I'm so glad that we have the right people and that we were able to like see it.
Yeah.
See it as well.
I mean, eventually, once you start feeling a certain level in your business, you want to just kind of break those into mini jobs. Yeah. You can't do everything for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you ran your own business for a while. How long did you do that? You're still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, since 2013, that's when I'm like, all right, I'm going to freaking start
time.
charging people. My time is valuable now. That was my senior year of high school that I started charging people.
Wow.
I remember.
You started
like
early.
$15 an hour or like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh.
No, I like that because
good.
you learn early on, okay, how do I value myself?
Exactly.
You know?
I remember I was self-conscious about charging. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm not that good. But then you realize over time, like, I can't work for free. My time is valuable. Like, I'm kind of proud of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then over time, just by doing it, and then you just feel like, you know, I deserve to be paid more. Or I've had clients actually tell me, why are you charging this much? You can easily charge this much. I'm like, oh, really? So thank you to those clients that gave me the confidence as well.
Yeah. So you had to hear it first from the outside.
To get that validation. I didn't really give myself that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, I think.
Yeah.
You're like, am I worth it?
Exactly.
Oh man, that question runs through every day. You're like,
your
am I worth
self-worth.
it? Even like when we do promo for whatever, like coffee or whatever, or promo for this, even for this podcast, I'm like, is it worth it to like shout it out and share it?
Yep. How I feel with social media right now.
I have to ask you about social media. Yeah.
Should we start now?
Yes, let's start now.
Wait, what's your third? Okay.
I'm not gonna remember all of it. I love it. He keeps us like on schedule. I'm like, we're special at it, and I don't care. I don't know if I have a third one either. Okay, social media, huh? Ooh, that one's a touchy topic. So I want to start off with, I feel like in this generation, there's more anxiety present for people because of social media. But yeah, I go through stages with posting and not posting because I'm like, do people even care? Like when I'm talking on camera, being myself. But then I have the rewarding feeling when people actually message me and say, oh my gosh, I love this. I'm like, really? Because I feel dumb. Like I'd be honest with them.
Dopamine kicks in, man.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
But
well, how do you feel about it now? Like, and especially from your perspective, like Jenna's not very social. I mean, for her age.
In media,
right? And she's not actually very technically savvy. She's just like, man, I do it. And she's not really, it doesn't seem like she's too attached. And maybe that's because she doesn't run a business, right? Actually in the weeds of it. So what's your take on it, you being so young? How do you feel about it?
I think it is important. Well, for me, at least with my business, personal branding is important because you're not just hiring my services, you're hiring me to hang out with you for X amount of hours, you know, and you want someone that has an upbeat, positive, like someone you like hanging out with. You don't want to hire someone that's not gonna, you know, cheer for you.
Yeah, who's just like over here. Click.
Yeah. So that's what I believe in with my business too, is that you're hiring someone that you enjoy being around.
Yeah.
So
that you want to hang out with. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why it's important for me to show who I am on social media as well.
But do you like it? Do you like to do it?
I generally like to do it. It's just, I realized over time it took a lot of time out of my day, and sometimes it gets into my head when I see like I'm not reaching a certain quota that I put in my imaginary head.
Yeah.
Is it the numbers that gets to you?
Yeah. But in the end, I try to tell myself, you know, it doesn't matter. You should do it for the people who genuinely care.
Yeah.
The numbers don't matter.
Yeah.
Like I learned over time too, you know, okay, so Tal's not actually the first person that taught me photography. It was my other cousin. And she is an elopement photographer. She's well established. She has like 25,000 followers on Instagram. And we both start off learning our cameras together. And then from there, we just, you know.
You separated.
Kind of, yeah. We had a weird falling out. And that actually took a toll on me when I was young because I was looking for someone older to mentor me and to look up to. So it was weird when she dropped me when I was when I was just like a little fetus.
Oh shit!
I lost my friend who would drive me around. We do like creative stuff together, and
you can remember that when you're a fetus.
Okay, no, I'm joking. When I was like 19 or 18, 17 or something.
Easy with this one. He's very literal.
Sorry. My lingo is not cutting it.
You gotta break down the jokes.
Yeah, but she was the first person that taught me photography before Tal took me on. And it just took a toll on me. Like, it took me a couple years to finally get over it. And still, even when I go through Instagram, I see that she gets reposted from bigger shout-out photography groups on Instagram, right? Yeah. I see like, oh, shot by her. I'm like, oh my God. I'm spiraling downwards now again.
So you're over it now.
Kind of. Actually, no. Not 2 days ago, I came across it again.
Oh,
like,
you know.
No.
Like, maybe because, I don't know her or anything, but I feel like when she was first starting out too, it was like nothing else exists except the business. Because it's like, for him, I think it was survival as well. Like, he had a lot of these financial responsibilities. He had to take care of his mom too. Like, and then when I stepped in the picture, he's probably thinking, "Oh, I gotta take care of this bitch too." Like, it's like, "Oh, I gotta do everything. Everything has to be perfect." And like everything sort of fell by the wayside. Like, he didn't go out. He didn't go out with his friends. And so for the longest time, like occasionally we would go out, and that's only because he had me to go with. But if it's just him, he probably would have just focused on his work, right? It was so intense.
I mean, life was hard during that time.
It was hard, yeah. And I mean, but he was always like, oh, I must do this. Everything else was second. So, like, even if I sat down during a wedding, you're like, don't sit down. Like, you must, uphold this image because we want to, be this, this idea that you had about what our business could be or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And so maybe that's kind of and I think that's what kind of gets you through a lot of the hard times, that you have to be so aggressively, even heartlessly cold sometimes. I often felt that about him, where it's like, oh, all you care about is the business. Only do things for the business. You only shoot photography for a business. But then when I saw the bigger picture of it, which was like, okay, well, I'm included. So I'm still included in this vision. Then I could forgive it. And you go, okay, well, it's game time. That's why. It's just this game time lasts 10 years. So maybe that's what happened with her. She just got so involved in her own thing, and she's like, nothing else can stop me. And I think the best thing that you can do is just go, well, the best thing you can do is forgive her, which it's going to come in waves.
Yeah.
It comes in waves, right? Like, you feel like, oh, I'm over it. And then something will happen or something will trigger you, and you're like, dude, that hurt. That hurt me. And you'll go and you'll think about it a little bit. And I still deal with that too, because I feel like I'm not the most forgiving person. But you'll go in waves of it for sure, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's been my experience about.
No, that's definitely mine.
Forgiveness, yeah.
No.
You're like, oh, did I forgive her? Am I over it? And then you'll find out, oh, I'm not. I'm not over it, And then you're like, okay, what do I do with that? Hide it, or like suppress it, or whatever. Like, what do you do with that emotion?
Well, I know forgiveness is like the first step to moving on. So
we all know it.
I know. Do we do it?
Like, how do you do that, right?
I don't know, man. I'm still trying to do it.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. I was like, how do you do it? Because I know that it comes in waves, and like, I know that it can release me from so many feels that are probably holding me down or making me, or taking up space in my brain. But like, it will just be there, like a little tumor, just like, and then sometimes it gets spiky, and then sometimes it's like dormant. It's like spiky, dormant sometimes. I don't know.
Well, with that person, my experience is just spreading positive energy. Mm-hmm. So actually, in this summer, she invited me to be a second shooter with her. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, hey, Kortney, let's make time to sit down. I want to teach you how to write off taxes for business. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Just want to teach you that.
Hey.
He loves that.
Wow, a lot of work.
But, you know, it's a little things like that that she does that makes me realize she does care about me. And even that, so she recommended some gigs to me too. So
little things.
the
like
little
that.
things that add up. So
Isn't it annoying that sometimes because she's Asian, she's your cousin. So Asian style, we like to like skirt around things instead of
we're
being
not emotional
direct.
people.
Right? And it gets really annoying because sometimes you're like, dude, I really just want to hear that I'm sorry that I did that. And I was young and I really was just trying to just do my own thing and I didn't have the energy or time or patience to mentor somebody else.
Because Asian people
Wouldn't that be
are
nice
afraid.
to hear that?
You're
You're
saying what I want to hear. I'm gonna cry.
exactly. Well,
They're afraid. They're like, if you
It's
were
scary.
to confront her, she thinks you're
I know.
pissed off at her.
Yeah.
Right. And I hate this sort of like, so a lot of my mission with this show is like, okay, how do I like undo or unlearn all of these really habitual things that are really cemented into our culture.
Yeah, we were born with it.
You're born with it. You don't talk about it, right? And then everybody I talk to is just like, because everybody's Asian. And I'm like, it is so annoying. Like, how do I really move on? Or am I lying to myself that I've moved on? No, actually, I think I'm still hurt. So what do I do with that? I don't want to be 60 and still be like, remember that time? We're like, bitch, it's been 50 years.
So you guys see each other during family parties? And
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. It's great though. It's
Good.
fine. It's fine.
All right.
It's always fine at the party, but then in your little heart, you're like,
You get the feels.
you get the feels, right? And I'm like, what do I do with that? I don't know. It's a journey. But yeah.
But you should also represent what you want to. So whenever you wrong someone, try to address that right away to that person using I statements. That's what I noticed. And just make it about yourself. Say, I feel hurt because of this. You did this.
Yeah,
don't pin it on them. Like practice I statements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I notice when I do things I feel like have offended someone, I think about and I tell them right away because that's what I want to embody. I don't want to
Make them, be featured on a podcast and talking about it with other people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's so awkward. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to deal with it, and now it's coming out in a podcast.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's, I don't know, part of it. It's like, well, you've got to learn what that feels like to like feel that. Like, oh, this is what it feels like. I don't like it.
No, wait, there was social media. What else?
Social media.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Why did I go up to my cousin?
Because see, that's
That's cool. I mean,
the healing power
yeah.
of the podcast. It makes things come out.
It
because
comes
you're
out.
like, oh yeah, now it's my time to speak. So this is your first time on a podcast.
Yeah.
How we doing?
I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's fun, right? It's
Yeah.
just interacting.
Yeah.
I know. It's just like whenever we hang out, we just talk.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
We were in, where is it?
Bruno's?
Brea?
Oh, in that little cul-de-sac?
That was fun.
That was really fun. I'm so glad that you got along with everybody too. Like that was kind of a miracle. Well, I kind of knew it'd be okay because you're like Jenna. So Jenna's very adaptive. And she can always find somebody to gel with. Like, no problem, right? I'm like, that's cool. I don't think I could do that. But like, I'll feel fake or something. But with her, it's always genuine, or at least it feels genuine.
Yeah.
Like me on the outside, I don't know for sure. But like, all these people that were at the dinner, like we've known Kwa for like a year already too. So we've all had some history together.
Yeah.
I know. I noticed you, Marcus, Emily,
Georgia too.
Georgia.
Your friendship runs deep. That's what I caught when we were at Bruno's.
Yeah, Georgia. Yeah. So she's been I'm always thirsty for her because we're so similar about like marriage struggles, I think. And so whenever we get together and we have a moment and we have some wine, like we go deep really quickly for like 30 minutes. And then at the end we're like, oh, it's cheery. And we're like, that was a good talk. And then we're like, yes, let's do it again. And then like, I don't know, 6 months later we'll have a talk again because we get, I guess, so busy or I don't get out of the house or whatever. But yeah, that was so good that you were able to like just gel with everybody and nothing felt awkward, right? Because we've had some team meetings before where it's like just some people didn't get along or we weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Well, people weren't. They didn't feel like they either belonged or they feel like this is a waste of time.
Or, you know, I can't wait to get done with this, or yeah. And I would always see that before, and like I'm like, why am I doing this?
It's like pointless, right?
Pointless, yeah.
For them, yeah.
Yeah, and pointless for me too, because I was like, I'm trying to make this team, and it wasn't happening. Yeah, but now I feel like every time we hit you up, it's like the response right away, clear right away, like down to hang out. You have the perfect schedule usually, and like
this is the right people.
It's so much easier, and I was like, wow, so this is my reward.
The stars aligned for this moment.
After so long, when you think it's not possible, and I think that's a really good lesson too, where it's like there's so much hard that happens in doing this. Even a little, like this podcast, like this was hard to figure out. I was like, how are we gonna do it? I want it to look good. And even now we have technical difficulty, but like just pushing through it because it's fun. And you're here for the bigger picture of things. Like the bigger picture is us having a conversation. We get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's the bigger picture, not the numbers, not putting it up on, so like that's fun stuff. Like that's cherry on the top stuff. But like, yeah, we get to sit down with you. Otherwise, it would just be like, let's go to dinner, and maybe we wouldn't hear about, you know, some of the stuff that you went through.
So aside from photography, is there anything else you like to do outside of photography?
I like to read books.
Yeah?
Cool.
This year I said, what
what do you read? Like more fiction or nonfiction?
I bounce around between the two. I tried doing self-help books, but
I have read a lot.
Wow.
Really?
You guys are
I mean, I didn't. Wait, let me clarify. I mean, I don't.
I mean, I read like
it's not my
5.
favorite to read because I like reading about narrative. I like following a storyline instead of like tangible advice to take.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So recently, I read Michelle Obama's Becoming.
Is it good?
I think it's good. It opens up perspective because I wanted to learn more about our former first lady.
Yeah.
And because I'm not really, I'm not a political type of girl.
Me neither.
I don't like, butting heads.
Yeah. So it was nice sense of perspective, learning more about her. Like she hates politics too.
Really?
Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah. I feel like she got sucked into politics because she wanted to support her husband.
Oh, so many times something like that happens.
Sounds familiar.
But she made it work.
Yeah, I think that you make the best of it, and like I feel too like she may have sucked me into wedding photography, but honestly, I'm always like, man, this is so hard. But then I'm like, man, I don't think I want to do anything else. Like I love this hard. I like that it's hard, but we can handle it. Mm-hmm. And I like struggling with you. Like, you have to do it with the right people again.
You're worth it.
Thank you. Have a great year.
Happy New Year. It's an inside joke. Okay, so Michelle Obama, what kind of perspectives or lessons did you learn from that? Like, what do you mean when it gave you a different perspective?
She for sure made the most of her situation. Like, she's resilient. There was a point where she had her 2 daughters already.
Yeah.
And they were living in Chicago, I believe. But Obama, he was senator in another freaking state.
Oh, so they had like
they did long distance. Yeah, he would come home on the weekends.
Yeah.
And it was
hard.
crazy. And
You
then
used to do that, Ben?
Yeah. Well, you used to do that.
I used to do that.
wow.
Yeah.
And then straight after him being senator, he just had a good following, and he just ran for presidency right after that.
Like, you didn't talk to her?
Oh no! They talked. I mean, like
How fast his political career
I see.
he just ran for president right after that.
Yeah. I see.
And then he got it.
Yeah.
So it just moved so fast on her end, and she just made the most of it. Like
was
she
just
wanted
like,
to make
okay.
a difference with her title too.
Right. Okay. That's cool.
So the first year was probably difficult. She was trying to adjust and everything, probably,
Yeah.
right?
Now you're
And trying
in the public eye
to give her daughters a normal life because
Yeah.
they grew up. Their adolescent years and then turning into young adulthood was in the White House, which is 8 years of their lives.
That's so different.
Oh, yeah, it was 2
They're
times.
like in their early 20s right now, like around my age or 19 or
Oh,
something.
wow.
They're super young.
Wow. And now they're famous, basically.
Yeah, and they're just trying to live a normal
And
life
they're just
going
like,
to college.
please, let me just smoke this weed. Yeah, didn't the older one get caught with
Weed?
or like champagne or alcohol.
something? Yeah,
That's
She was,
stupid.
when she was underage, but it was just like, just leave her alone, dude.
Yeah.
She's a kid, yeah. Okay, what else have you read?
Right now I'm subscribed to Book of the Month,
Which is basically
5 curated books, and you choose one out of the 5, and they send it to you.
For free?
No.
Oh.
I wish.
Is it like a digital book?
No, it's an actual hardcover book that's like $10 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty nice, and they
Yeah.
have like different categories.
So no
good.
business books, nothing
No,
like
it's
that.
more
so more
like
narrative.
Is it?
It's like a
Nonfiction, right?
it's like a hobby, right? Because you like to
Oh
read.
no. Yeah, nonfiction is like true stuff.
Okay.
Like
Oh, it's nonfiction,
like
fiction,
like
but
biographies then.
yeah. Well, the only biography was Michelle Obama, but this one's like stories that you latch onto.
I see.
Yeah, I'm still testing out, see if I like it.
Yeah.
I
But it's like the modern day library. Like you get to rent all these books, and
Yeah.
it's like $10, and that's cool because you
That's
don't have to
good.
buy it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Again, rare.
Yeah.
Rare. Jenny used to read a lot too, but more like fiction stuff.
Yeah. I hate reading.
He won't read anything
Yeah.
I love using
I only
imagination.
read if
to make money.
to make either to make money or I'm learning how to do something. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I can go both ways. Like for me, reading has been so instrumental of like, okay, how do I even like find people to build a team? That was when most of the reading went down. And then again, the self-help stuff too. So I read
Yeah.
a lot of, not a lot, I guess,
What's that book I recently got you?
like how to deal with difficult people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like,
That one's
like
cool.
stuff
Is
like
it to
that.
deal with you or
Him, anybody.
Anybody.
Anybody. Well, running a team has taught me, like, each one of you guys are really different. How you learn, how you hear it, how you see things. And so for me to be just sensitive to that or just aware to it instead of just talking at you. The way that I used to do it was super Asian style. It's like, this is how it is. I'm going to teach you the way I was taught, which was very strict and stern. And then hopefully you'll stick
It's
around,
like
right?
in a business, you need
like-
parents in the company. You need a mother.
I just didn't
that can nurture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mom.
the team.
And I was like, Sometimes I'd be very frustrated with something, right? And then I'm like, okay. And I'm mostly frustrated because how I'm teaching is not working. So it's more, if I'm frustrated, it's really a reflection upon myself. Where it's like, okay, I'm not saying it the right way, or I'm not communicating it the right way, because this person learns differently.
Yeah, visually or auditory.
Yeah, or you know,
yeah.
the way that I'm presenting the information doesn't match their language. And I'm like, okay, there's like 4 of you. And I'm still trying to figure out sometimes like just communicating between him and I. And so it gets really like, and I've never really had to consider other people and how they learn, because we would just go. This is how it is. Okay, go. Right? Like if you run your own company, you don't really have others to manage. And in the beginning, you just really do need to just focus on you. And you're like, me, I'm going to do it like this, like that. And then you reach a point where we reached and we're like, okay, we're growing, but we can't grow anymore because we don't know how to manage a company, actually. We only know how to run it or run in it, do the work, okay? And so after that, we're like, okay, how do we do it? And then we spend how many years not knowing how to manage. So it was like a really hard wake-up call. Like when Jonathan left, the second before Kwa, we didn't really know. We thought we did. We were like, okay, I'm gonna just teach you some things or do a little workshop and you'll be cool at the wedding, right? Like, no. There's so many other skills which you already brought to the table, which I had to foresee. Somebody has to bring to the table this, and this first. Instead of me thinking, I'm just going to teach you everything and expect you to do what we ask. Like, it's insane, right? It's insane.
a lot of information.
It's insane. So I was like, okay, we need a reality check and we need to be really real about how it works actually managing people. It's so different than just, let me pick up a camera and work. That's easy, actually.
Yeah.
That's the technician's job, right? Like, I know how to do it, I do it. Whereas when you're managing people, now you're like, okay, this person knows how to do, 85% of the job. So how do I fill in the gap for the 20, for the whatever percentage after that? And then how are they actually going to hear me and execute it on the day of when I'm not there? Like, it feels very risky. It feels very scary. And then at the same time, you're like, okay, now you got to learn how to trust people to do the job that you ask them to do. And not be like, all hovering around them and being all helicopter mom about it. And
that's why there's a few wedding photography business with a lot of like a team behind it. Yeah. There's always a husband and wife, or there's a solo photographer, because it's so hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, because you're playing a bunch of hats, being a technician, being a business owner, being the secretary.
Yeah. Wow, I met up with my bride yesterday, and she was talking about Encore Studios. Actually, their team is huge as hell, and they're just there for the paycheck, and they take forever to deliver stuff.
Yeah,
dude, I can say this publicly because we don't work with Encore.
Yeah, we don't,
and we're okay with saying that. Yeah, we're like, we don't work with Encore. If you and now we developed a system because he told me he was so distraught. Him and Kwa were so distraught after working with them, and I said, okay, we don't have to deal with that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So we just go, okay, since we know it's not going to make a happy working environment for everyone, we'll just ask clients, who's your videographer? And then if we see the name Encore, then we'll just go, sorry, we don't work with you, or we won't work with them, and we'll have to decline your wedding.
Oh, really?
I mean, if you did hire them.
If you did hire them, yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, and feeling that you're totally within your rights to do that because you want to make the best experience for your client with your service. So it's not a good fit, and we don't always just say yes for the paycheck.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's all about, appreciating your work, appreciating your time. Is your time going out there to photograph their day, but also putting your heart into your work? I know it's all about our couples, but at the same time, it's your time in life, So you have to love it in order to take upon that job.
Yeah, it's a two-way street, right? Like, you have to be a team. And if it's you already know it's not going to be a good team, like, be smart and you can sidestep it. There's plenty more.
Yeah.
That's something that we learned too. It's like there's always going to be the right person for you, like waiting for you. I think if I kept saying yes to the wrong people, then I would never have met you, to be part of our team. And the same thing with Kwa too. Like, I was like, this person must be this. And I was like, is this too much to ask? I don't care. Let's just put it up and see who bites.
I was actually close to not applying because I'm like, wait, I don't have the 70 to 200. I'm like, I have my work to prove that I'm like, I have done well without it.
See, I like that. See,
that's cool,
I'm just going to try. Somebody who thinks critically and who like, you kind of like think outside the box. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like if you were able to make it happen, I saw your collection.
Yeah.
And it was actually a second photographer's collection. And I was telling you, nobody sent me that shit. They want to send me a lead photographer. I'm like, that doesn't test you. It doesn't tell me that you can be a second.
Or a careful reader.
Right.
Yeah.
Follow directions.
Or just not even careful, just read the directions.
Thank goodness there was no cover. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's more work. Because I'm like, wait, I can get all this done in like an evening and maybe I'll be able to collect the fruits of my labor.
I don't need it anymore. And
have you worked for any other companies before?
Yeah, there's actually another company I'm working for that I found them when I was in Santa Barbara.
Okay. And how was your experience with them?
There's no strong team like working with
you and everyone else. So, yeah, it's like...
You gotta know, you're a big part of that. I think, we have to give credit where credit is due. And I want to keep saying that. Or it's like, without your participation, the way you participate, the way that you are, I think it would not bring out I guess like, oh, cool, like people want to hang out.
Yeah, we can all be friends.
Like before, it's like today, right? Like it's typical of our team to be like, no, I'm gonna work.
Well, Qual's stuck in a 9 to 5.
Yeah, well, that too.
And Jenna has a lot.
She has a lot of things. Yeah. She's sick.
Sick again? Oh.
Yeah.
I thought she got better. But yeah, so it's so cool that you're able to like come the extra way. Yeah, we can only come that percentage, and the rest you have to come. So I'm so glad that you're able to do that because we never had it before. Yeah, it's really nice.
Me neither. Yeah, before I even was part of your team, I was freaking out because business is kind of slow in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, this is my first time doing photography full time. I'm a loser.
I'm like, I gotta find a big girl job and do full time because I've always done photography part time and it's always worked out.
Yeah.
So I applied to Canon, to get the Canon discount.
Yeah.
And you know what? Jobs, you guys need a reply. Like, just respectfully say, oh, we saw your resume. We will decline you so we're not sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
That's corporate.
I do that. I always send reject if I immediately, see something I don't like, so you can move on with your life, right?
And they can move on too. They have closure.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I was yearning for a community in the work environment to make friends and network because I was so by myself. So because I was done with college, like it's hard making friends after college.
So you were really social in college.
Kind of.
Thank you,
kind of. Or there was just people nearby, to hang out with. But when after college, it's just hard to make friends.
Yeah.
So I was yearning for a work, like, what's it called?
Like a
coworkers. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Coworkers.
Okay.
Coworkers that you can hang out with and be friends with. So.
Yeah.
Match made it happen.
Yeah.
So
it is hard to make friends.
When you went to
college.
Santa Barbara, you just went there without any friends, right? Like, or did you have a friend that you had a
friends
relationship?
that also attended from my high school, so there was that.
Oh, okay. So you already
crossover, like a transition.
Yeah.
Transition friends.
okay.
Yeah, and just easily like, hey, this is my friend,
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
Hey, but you met that one.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, it was, if anything, like college taught me. It was like, well, how to write. Learned how to write in college. Thank God. And then I met Chi.
Yeah, I think college taught me time management.
Oh, time management for sure.
And just be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just be comfortable in your own skin. That's why I went out at Cal State Long Beach, because I know being from around here, everyone would go to Cal State Fullerton, and I would just see the same faces. And I eventually went back to Cal State Fullerton, and I did see all my friends there, but it was cool.
I know, yeah, you knew everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seemed to know
Because
everybody.
I saw like every high school mate there. I was like, hey.
I didn't see anybody after high school.
Yeah.
I was very glad about that.
Yeah, you commute. That was a long commute you did.
Yeah, it's a pretty long commute.
So, from working with your previous photography company in Santa Barbara, you saw a weakness in their team. What was missing, do you feel?
Just a strong core trust. Like I feel like there wasn't a go-to person, or we didn't really bond. We were there just to document the moment, and then we were done.
Yeah.
No guidance, no
prior training. Actually, this person didn't use contracts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So shotgun.
Just trust me right away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Is it
Yeah.
owned by one person or?
Yeah, there's one person that just owns the whole thing, and he has an umbrella of like associates that he has.
We use contracts, right?
Yeah,
I
we
signed
gotta
contracts.
use contracts.
I was like, I did my due diligence, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
I
thing.
couldn't
I always,
remember.
Yeah.
Since we have a system, right? Is it easier to follow?
Oh heck yeah! I know.
yeah, that's what I was gonna
I
ask.
know what your vision is and
Yeah.
what you want to represent, and then
Yeah.
you have such a good welcome packet. Me and Jenna call it the Bible for second shooters. It's so clear, and it made it easier for me to transition into what you want. It made me less anxious. Like,
Oh, good.
Made me
good.
wonder, like, am I competent enough to represent Kevin? But
Yeah, a lot of people feel pressure.
So far, is there anything missing that you would like to see from us?
Yeah.
not that I know of so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, always feel free to shout it out.
Yeah.
We gotta
I got
learn.
you.
We
I
gotta
got
learn.
you.
We gotta learn.
Yeah.
And I would say this many times, but maybe I was saying it to the wrong people because they would never be really honest with me. And maybe that's because, I burned that bridge in the beginning where I was like super strict or whatever, or not seeming friendly enough or open enough. And like I did that with my own husband. Where it's like, I don't want to tell you anything. So now I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to say it in the right way where it's like, or at least have it feel like you can come to us with stuff.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
all about the wording too. Like, have you considered, instead of being like,
you suck in this aspect. But you know what would be better? Yeah. So it's all about wording too and how you approach yourself.
Yeah, so those are things that I'm thinking of all the time because I give review to, or I give feedback to Kwa, and he's always like, give it to me rough. And I'm like, and then I do that and I'm like, I think you're sad. And then I'm like, okay, so now I need to do the like, you know, hard mama bear thing, and then, you know, like kind mama bear thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's
tough love.
I'll trust my own instincts with you instead of relying on you to tell me. Because sometimes as Asians, we're like, we always want to put up a face where we're like, we could take it. We could take it. They always are like that. And I'm like, I don't think so. And so I'm going to stop listening to you and just go off like what I feel and what I like feel in my intuition.
Yeah.
And then I can, and then act from there. And then I feel more genuine, I think. Because otherwise, if I just like go off what you say, I know you're just trying to save face or something. And then which I can understand, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool. Like it doesn't have to be so hard. Doesn't have to be so hard. And I'm like, but I think a lot of times because of the way that we've all been brought up, we look for that because of how we were raised. We look for ways to like, oh, like this feeling of guilt or this feeling of like repression is familiar because that's how we were raised when we were young. And so that's the only way we know how to operate when things are like hard or like things aren't working or you're not communicating. And I'm like, there has to be a better way. We can't just go back to our old habits.
Yeah.
So, but it's always hard. Like you have to recognize it. You have to be able to like step outside yourself and go, okay, this is that time where we habitually do this really dumb thing where we don't say what we mean or we're not clear with each other or whatever. So let's just squash that. Try to put a smile on the face and be like, it's okay. Like you said, oh, it's the words that you used. Have you considered? I remember that.
I learned that from someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the language and how each person receives it.
Yeah.
And I remember, we would ask Jenna, how would you like to receive your feedback? She would say, start with positive reinforcement and then get into the nitty gritty. Yeah.
But every artist does not want to hear, I think, even you. Like I said, I try to get him to understand, like, you're being mean right now, Bam. Like,
I'll beat myself in the mind and then I'll be like, I am being mean. But a lot of artists does have a strong...
Or not mean, but judgmental.
Yeah, judgmental. But you kind of have to take it, you know?
Yeah.
It's different. Well, I mean, every artist deals with it. Like if Van Gogh was still alive and you're like, hey, can you do this little piece? You'll be like, what the hell?
This is mine. Like I get it. I get
they only
it.
have a really strong ego.
So I don't know. I think it's about. I think it's cool because even though we're not perfect mentors or teachers, and I know that, it's like, okay, so every time I have an opportunity to teach or give feedback, I have to really, really like go against my own habit, which is like, I'm gonna just tell you how it is, and then, that's done. And then like the other person's like, oh my God, that must have felt really bad or something. Even though I try to make it, friendly or nice or gentle. Like nobody wants to hear that the work is not good, because then your mind starts to go, like I'm not good enough as a whole, right? You're like, because now if you're like, you like focus on that one bad thing, and the one bad thing will just like taint everything else that is good. So like one bad thing, so, and to know that we're all not perfect. And then for us not to expect perfection too, I think is very important. So we have a lot to learn, but I think we have the right people to like learn with.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys like are patient with us too to like stick with it. Yeah. Like please don't get mad if I say the wrong thing, So it's, it's like a relationship. So I've been thinking about it too, because I know I have to give you feedback, and I'm like, okay, so how do I give feedback in a way that suits you, that is the most efficient, and that is not going to be nitpicky, because we all have the tendency to be nitpicky.
Yeah.
Like if you're detail oriented, like I know you are, you could be nitpicky if you were going to critique somebody else's work. But then I always say, well, what's the big picture? And the big picture is like, you nailed it. But I go, okay, cool. So we got big picture down. So I feel like we can take that step together to go, okay, cool. What can we refine?
Yeah.
What can we make better? Right. And it's not even about like, oh, this was not good. It's what can we refine? What can we make better? I think that's way, and maybe that's how I could have said it in days before, to be a better teacher instead of being, I don't know, like just being too strict. Yeah. Now that I think back. Like, whoa, really strict. And it's recorded, too. It's recorded. And I was like, wow, it was really strict. But, I mean, that's how I was taught. But when you're trying to make a real business in America, you can't be that way. And it doesn't feel good either.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good. It's not a good energy.
So how are you doing this year? And this is your first year of being full-time.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling so far? It's 6 months through.
Actually, I was having the crisis in the beginning of the year, and then it started picking up and getting really busy. So now I'm feeling more confident.
Yeah.
Because aside from doing photography, there's some other thing that I'm passionate about. So the last 2 years in the summer, I went to Japan to be a group leader.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I think that's the second show. Because we want to go to Japan next year for a honeymoon, finally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want different maps, okay. I'm already like picking spots.
You guys want water? Let me get water.
Sure.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you. Hospitality on point.
All right. So next show.
Yeah, I so want to ask you about Japan. I started watching all your little vlogs and everything, but I was like, and then I'm editing our old crappy camera Japan vlogs right now.
Really?
Because I want to like relive it.
Thank you.
And then get hyped for like next year or whatever. So, but yeah, Japan.
Oh, so are you going to Japan again this summer?
I am not going to Japan again this summer, but so this company that I work for, well, it's technically trade services for, but I just say work for because it's easier to say. Basically, they pay for my health insurance, flight, my stay, food, everything over there.
Dang, that's
yeah. In return, I just have to work their programs, which is it's 5 days, 6 hours a day. And each week you're in a new city or new school. That's what it is.
And you're teaching.
Cool. It's not really, it's technically reinforcing, giving the student confidence to speak English, because in Japanese society, students are not allowed to talk unless spoken to. So you want them to build the confidence to speak their minds and share their opinions and just...
That's very counterculture.
Yeah.
I know. And teach them globalization too, that Americans don't have to be white-faced, blue-dyed, blonde hair. They can be a sassy Vietnamese girl.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's their impression of it. And also they have a tough time seeing the difference between ethnicity and, nationality, because they're technically purebreds.
Right.
Yeah.
Mono race.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, that's what it is.
Just just Africa, just pretty much everything, right?
Africa? No, they're very different.
Are they?
But Japan is like, we are all Japanese, except for like Okinawa, right?
Same with China, right? China.
China.
Your mono race. Cambodia,
Not
Laos,
really.
all.
Not the way that Japan is, I think. Because you have Taiwan, you have mainlanders, then you have like rural people, then you have like city people. I guess you could say the same for Japan.
Yeah.
But collectively, their culture is all very like, we are one. We are for this nation.
Yeah.
Like the way that they act, even the way that they stand in line is like,
Very
we are together. Like not
South
individualistic at all. Not in a
that's
like
cool.
North Korea way.
So you're not doing it this year?
No. So those two previous experience I had, I was just a group leader. So how the program runs is there's one facilitator and then group leaders. So like there will be 5 students to each group leader. Something like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you can think of it in a college setting is the facilitator is a professor, the group leaders are the TAs.
Okay.
So I was a
Okay.
TA.
Okay.
And then this year they had a program where they needed a panelist to talk about future leaders. That's what it was. So I was invited to do it. And then I voiced to the company that, wow, I really would love to be a facilitator. So they interviewed me 2 weeks ago and they hired me.
Wow.
So I'll be a facilitator this summer for their programs in California.
Oh,
Very
in California.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully, if I'm good enough, they'll send me Japan because that'd be fantastic.
So you don't know. They're just like, well, we'll pick you and you can go over here or whatever.
I just have to communicate with them because my friend, he works at the company, so he does let me know snippets of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I know some people who works on the mainland in Japan. So GPI US is the sister company of the main one, ISA.
Yeah.
And so my friend works under ISA as a facilitator, and he was told that they brought some facilitators from America to be there. So
How did you came across this opportunity?
my best friend, Kelby, he told me about it.
Kelvy.
Kelby?
Like Kelvin, but Kelvy?
I know, that's a unique name.
Right?
Kelvy.
Yeah, he's my BFF from high school. He just texted me saying, hey, I think you'd be great for this program. So
cool.
he told me about it, and I know the application was due like 2 weeks beforehand. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get done. So, yeah, because of him, he shared that opportunity with me. I took it.
Oh, that's
Wow, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
awesome.
And then you just graduated college too, right? Last year.
Last year.
Last year.
June.
Okay.
So yeah, you're going. You have a momentum going. It's
I know, I'm just trying, step by step. Don't look at the overall picture. Just
Yeah.
take opportunities that align with your goals.
What a
Yeah.
star. Wow.
That's good.
Try it.
Maybe,
I don't know. You two have like a lot of
Maybe-
businesses under your belt. Like you have
A lot
gone
of
through.
failed ones.
Okay, you know what I told the student? It takes a lot of L's,
To get the W.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are our W because we had a lot of L's.
What are L's? Losers or
Losses. I say
okay.
losses or losers. L's for the
Losers.
W.
I know, that was confusing.
Someone's in
Still
the back
saying,
like,
like-
I'm a loser. I don't know.
Losses for the W.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I mean, we failed a lot fast.
A lot, but then we pick up like right away as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's really the only way to do it because otherwise you'll go crazy.
Yeah, there's like no time.
You'll be sad and crazy.
Yeah, no time and energy just to like stick around in the fail mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just need to like learn from your mistakes and like start.
Yeah, that's what I
Applying
love
new
about
methods.
you too. You hustle and you try new things. You've gone through the motion of this, so you're like, okay, next time I do this, I know what to avoid and
Yeah.
what to
Yeah.
We try. Yeah.
Yeah.
do. We try. I see it. Somebody tell me leaving you.
But she's retired, right?
Yeah.
That's why. So I didn't
You
have
know,
to.
it's a
But
good
before you
time.
joined the team, yeah,
Yeah.
like we also learned something is that, and we spoke about this earlier in our podcast, is that finding the right match and finding the right chemistry with the photographer and the couple. So this year I learned that I can decline a wedding,
Wow.
or I can turn down a wedding or provide a refund back to the client.
Whoa,
Yeah.
you done that where you said,
Yeah.
never mind, I can't do it?
I said, yeah, me and you, like, we're just not working out. So
Whoa.
I can't shoot your wedding. I just feel weird. I feel like we can't connect. So just with that, I mean, I can help refer you to people that you can connect with that would be a better fit than myself. So
Yeah.
with this said, I shot their engagement, but I gave them their refund back.
Yeah. I mean, it's less selfish too. I feel like we've been so self-serving, and it's so weird that business has kind of like become that, where you had to be very selfish in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be selfish with your art and the way that you ran business. And then I just kind of had to stick with it, like just stick with it. And then later on, we're like, oh, wait, we were selfish for so long, and now we have to learn to not be selfish. Like, it's such a 180.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it was really hard. But if you can stick through it, I think those were our last 2 to 3 years-ish.
I think, we're just getting wiser.
I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
but when you first start, you're all thinking about yourself.
That's it.
Yeah, you're thinking about, I want to get published here. I want to get, all
Right.
these awards. I want to, participate in everything, right? I want to be known as a photographer. And then after you got all that dopamine for so long, you're like, it's not about
All this
that.
dopamine
Yeah,
kick.
you start to go through the wave, and it's like, it's not about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big picture. And
Do you want this for the long game? You know?
Are you here for an award, or are you here to capture people's memory.
Yeah.
I think that too was because a lot of times like he was so strict about the reason why he was so strict is because he wanted to be featured, and there's a certain way that you take photos that will get you featured. The way that you take your details was like such a big deal, and a lot of people that came through are like, just shoot it, you know, it's like it's crooked, it's not straight, it's like oh, you're not level with the thing. I'm like, okay, like
lighting's not right.
Lighting's not right. You don't use off-camera flash, right? So it's like, okay, so that's great, and I think it's a great base. Like I think the way that you take details just makes sense, right? So we can get a really good basic understanding of fundamentals of how to shoot, basically. But the big picture was like, it's not for an award. Actually, that's great. We have a lot of little awards and stuff. That's cool. But the reason why is like you want to be able to support yourself with the art that you love and make really great connections with clients. Like we want our clients to actually like be people that, like you said, you want to hang out with or be friends with. And we've made a lot of really great friends through being clients first. And I'm like, dude, what if we can do that with almost everybody? Wouldn't that be awesome? So let's not be too nitty picky, gritty things about like the details so much all the time. Like if we can see the bigger picture, I think we'll be able to move in the direction that we want to go. And that's good because we can remind each other of that. Because sometimes when you're just by yourself, you're like, you don't have anybody on the outside to poke you and be like, hello, get on, let's see the big picture. Like, oh, you're being too hard or you're being too selfish or whatever. And so it's good we have that, like a good partnership. So I guess to like round up, because I think we're like past our hour. And I don't know if that's still recording. So I mean, we got our audio, so that's good. What's the big picture for you right now? I mean, it's going to change all the time, right? But like, what's your big picture?
Big picture right now, since I'm only 23, is just to keep my mind open and soak it up like a sponge. But, you know, of course, sort through like the important things, the unimportant, like... Yeah, recently I just learned, you know, to be more nitpicky with friendships. Like, keep people whose energy or aspirations you want around. Like, if they have an ounce of negativity or bad vibes, drop them because they will taint that part and spread everywhere. So it's all a learning lesson. Even though I consider myself mature for my age, there's always so much to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially off camera flash.
I'll teach you that.
That's later. You're gonna learn basics with me. We just went through this in the car, so don't get hyped.
When Qual first started, like, I want to learn Flash, and then I took him from A to Z like right away. And he's like, "What?"
I knew that would happen. Man. So another thing we're learning as mentors is one at a time. One at a time. Okay.
I mean, I'm learning myself and how to teach. One at a time. Because I can go from A Z really quick, like, you'll need this, and then you'll need this, and then you'll need that, and then you'll need this.
And then I'm over here like, B, they don't even understand how to, you know, point the flash this way. You're trying to go do, I was like, oh, Lord. So I think we're going to learn from that mistake in teaching and just be like, okay, once you guys have mastered super basic stuff with me, not even super basic, but like basic flash, basic like, you know, just clean shots, then you can step in and do your crazy things. But we can't do it at the same time. Which is something like, you know, we can get competitive, I think, about like who's teaching or who's I don't know what that is, whatever. But for us to be able to step aside and let the other shine and do what they're supposed to do and not step over each other, we're learning that as well. Because this is really the first time that we've worked together, full time together, and just doing one thing.
Wow.
So it's been a journey. But now we're learning. We're like, now we have the maturity and the patience, and of course the love to like bring you through the really, really hard parts. And then we get really nice rewards, which is like dinner with all of you guys. Or I was like, this is so nice.
That was a fun night.
Everybody was really good after, and
it feels good. Like
I was like, dude, that was magical. Like we've never had that, and that was you guys, you know. So it was like that was so cool. Well, thank you for coming on the show. We got to do probably part 2, 3, 4. We got to talk about parents.
Yeah.
This
wow,
is
that was an interesting one.
The space
Yeah.
to like, you know, go deep if you want to.
No,
of
I'm
course.
down.
'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like Asians, we just got to spend our 20s and 30s and 40s forgiving our parents.
Yeah.
Like,
You can go
figuring
deep
that
while
shit
you're
out.
fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Go deep fishing.
Yeah. Deep fishing, while going deep. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you for coming. Anything you wanted to share extra that you want to put out there or whatever?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you too for having me here. It's such an honor to finally be showcased.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kortney.
This is your time. That's your seat. Okay. What about you, B? You have anything else left to share?
No, but I mean, I guess I'll teach you
Next
paddle.
week.
Paddleboarding?
Yeah, paddleboarding.
Yeah, so-
You've never been, right?
Never.
Okay.
Well, actually, I have. Wait,
You
no.
have.
I don't remember anymore.
Okay.
I just say it's a new experience.
Yeah. So join
Have you-
us next time. Don't continue.
Oh, sorry.
We're trying to close out.
I think we're running out of batteries on everything. So thank you for joining us. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube,
Anchor.
Facebook, Instagram. Let people know your Instagram handle or social media handles so they can
Sure.
follow
You can find me on Instagram, Kortney Pham. Facebook, Kortney Pham Photography.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Very
Just my
easy.
name.
Yeah.
I'm easy. Just Google me. You'll find me everywhere.
I'm so glad it's not like, Sweet Girl 98. That was before your time.
Oh, no. I had it.
Oh, you had
that was
it,
around
yeah.
there, like Flower Girl 96 or something. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next Pass the Island.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.